Hello everyone, welcome to a more different kind of video this week. I thought, since we're doing Pokemon stuff, we might as well do a Pokemon video. Okay, well that's half true. I've actually been wanting to do this video for a little while, and I kind of asked the Patreon, and they decided to do Pokemon instead of Animal Crossing on terms of like which one I should tier. I think that's about right. I think Pokemon has a lot more creepy stuff than Animal Crossing, so I do think it is rather fitting. I thought this time what I would do is I would tier some spooky moments in Pokemon. And to be clear, I won't be tiering moments from the anime. I just feel like there's way too much of the anime I just flat out haven't seen. Now, there are plenty of moments in the anime that are definitely really kind of like eerie, but like I said, I haven't really seen like all of it, so I think I generally stopped watching after the Hoenn region because of course I did. Mainly when the dub split to the Pokemon Company instead of 4Kids. That's pretty much when I dropped off. So, but we're just gonna be tiering the spookiest moments from the games. And just in case I kind of forget stuff, I've actually looked up a couple lists online of spooky moments so I could just kind of compare and contrast, and then, because there's some stuff in here that, like, I'm kind of, like, thinking of that I'm like, whoa, I do not remember that. So it's kind of good I looked up this stuff. So I guess let's just jump right in. I'm gonna have some footage playing in the background. I'm gonna try to throw up some relevant pictures and footage as it goes. No promises on this being in order of like the games, like Lavender Town first, and then what is it? The spooky thing from Sword and Shield. Oh wait, there's no spooky thing in Sword and Shield, is there? There's the... Huh. I just realized that. There's no spooky thing in Sword and Shield, is there? I cannot think of any. Okay, well, that's that. Alright, well, let's just jump right in. So I see someone noting selling Slowpoke Tails for money. I guess that was a little eerie. I don't know if it's spooky though. It just kind of seemed like a really kind of bleak thing that the first generation games kind of did. I'm not saying Gold and Silver were first generation, but it was back then they were really kind of straightforward with what would happen to Pokemon back then. Like the straight up death of Cubone's mother and like just some other really creepy stuff until they became more kid-friendly. I mean, I don't know, take that for what you will. I kind of like more of the kid-friendly stuff a little bit. I don't know, I just thought like there's kind of just a limit. And I consider Pokemon to be relatively feel-good. I mean, I'll take stuff here and there, but I don't know, just hearing about like Pokemon death, it's like, at least like going into detail about it is really weird for me. But yeah, cutting off the Slowpoke Tails was definitely a moment in Pokemon that was very not enjoyable to listen to. I mean, you pretty much have to deal with that one grunt selling you the Slowpoke Tail for like, what was it, like $9 million or whatever it is, or Pokebucks or whatever. I just thought that was a little like, ugh. But like, I don't know if it's spooky though. I think it's just kind of, yeah, I don't know. Oh, well, I guess this list is called Most Disturbing Moments in Pokemon History. Okay, I think disturbing can constitute as spooky. So, selling Slowpoke Tail, I would probably put that relatively near the bottom for me. I would say that probably the spookiest part about it is you just really don't think of that stuff when it comes to Pokemon, and it kind of feels like kind of a weird creepypasta thing when you really delve into it. But honestly, like once you see that the Slowpokes are alive and well and like they went back to town without their tails, it kind of just makes you feel better. So I don't know. The spooky level on that one is relatively low for me. Alright, and here we are. Let's just get this one knocked right out. Lavender Town. This is a very, very, very famous spooky thing in Pokemon, and honestly, not even just Pokemon, just video games in general. And I think there's a good reason for that, honestly. I do think Lavender Town kind of lives up to its creep factor. What was it? It was either like the Japanese release or like the beta release, but Lavender Town used to have an even creepier theme, believe it or not. If you feel daring, go look it up. But I will not play it here. In fact, I do not like the Lavender Town music. I just think it is a very, like, it's spooky, but it's also like depressing, you know? And when you hear it, you're like, I don't like being here, you know? It's funny too, because the first time I ever heard Lavender Town was actually in FireRed and LeafGreen, and I went into it completely blind. Like, completely blind. Like, I didn't know anything about Lavender Town or the, you know, the Cubone's mother stuff. But, like, you walk into town, and it just plays that music, and it's just like, what on earth, you know? Because usually you get to town, it's like, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But when you get to Lavender Town, it's not fun. And the worst part about Lavender Town for me is I feel like it's a relatively important Pokemon center, because I feel like when you go left, you got a lot of battles. When you go up, you got a lot of battles. When you go down, you got a lot of battles. And you'll be returning to Lavender Town to heal your Pokemon up for quite a bit. At least I did. I mean, I don't know if I was actually healing my Pokemon more, or it just felt like I was doing it more, but it definitely was not pleasant going to that town. And every single time I just go to it, I instantly leave, because I don't want to be there. I really don't like it. I really, really don't like Lavender Town. And I guess they separated Pokemon Tower on this list, so I guess just talk about the town in and of itself. It is a creepy town, and there are creepy NPCs there. Nothing like really like horrific, but definitely, I feel like Lavender Town is definitely the kind of, you know, your imagination kind of creates the fear kind of place, you know? But yeah, the music, honestly, the music is the creepiest part, so yeah. But I don't know, Lavender Town's a classic. It lives up to the hype. I would probably say Lavender Town is near the top, if not at the top. I gotta figure out where it's gonna rank. It's interesting because they note the death of Blue's Raticate in Pokemon Red and Blue, but that's not really confirmed, and it is one of those things that's kind of just like, I don't want it to be confirmed, you know? But I do feel like the theory is worth addressing, honestly. For those of you who do not know, when you battle Blue on the SS Anne, he has Eradicate, and I think he's been raising like the Rattata to the Raticate for like the whole game up to that point. And you beat him, you feint his team, and then he kind of stays on the SSN while you get off. Well, the theory is that he couldn't get off to heal his Raticate, and thus it died. Because the next time you see him, he's at Pokemon Tower, and it kind of makes sense a little bit, but I feel like it's kind of more of an oversight than anything, because I really feel like if Game Freak really wanted to do that, why did they like pinpoint Raticate, you know? Why did, you know, it wouldn't make sense, like his whole team is kind of messed up after that battle. I don't know. I do think the theory is very clever, but I don't know if I necessarily believe it. But I don't know. It's not going on the tier list. I just thought it's interesting and it's worth addressing. Oh, there's just more theories than anything. No, okay. Yeah, alright, let's just go straight into Pokemon Tower. Now, how spooky is Pokemon Tower in and of itself? And I don't know if that's the actual name, I'm pretty sure it is, though. It's the place where dead Pokemon are buried. I don't know whether it's in a tower. Maybe it's kind of a Japanese culture thing, I don't know. It's kind of interesting that their graveyard is a tower, though, compared to, like, a cemetery or something like that. But honestly, the tower is relatively creepy. Like, it's actually one of the creepier places in the game. Like, because you get, like, the actual creepy NPCs. Like, the ones who are, like, possessed, and you run into ghost Pokemon, and the music there is really creepy. Honestly, I feel like the creepiest part of Pokemon Tower is when you run into the ghost. Because especially like in actual like Red and Blue generation, back when sprites were ugly and just kind of hard to understand back then, oh boy, that ghost does not look fun. And I can't imagine just being a kid seeing that blind and just being like, nope. I don't think I got that scared as a kid, because I think the thing is that I didn't do the whole ghost part. Because you don't have to do it. The ghost only stops you if you go up Lavender Town's Pokemon Tower, like, too high before you get the Sylph Scope. It's just there to stop you. It's a very cool way to stop you, but I don't think I ever experienced it. And if I did, I think I did it after the fact when I already knew about the ghost. But good lord, I can't imagine people going through, like, the OG Red and Blue and seeing that. Yeah, Yeah, no. But yeah, Pokemon Tower is going right next to Lavender Town on the list because it's part of its like mythos, honestly. You know, in hindsight, it's funny because I probably should have just listed them together in general, but I don't know. I feel like Lavender Town is its own creepiness, and Pokemon Tower is also its own creepiness. So yeah, there it is. The Kidnapping of Lostelle from Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen. This is actually a very interesting one, because I never really thought of it as something spooky, but it is something that kind of confirms one of the more creepier things. At least, okay, it was confirmed, but we never saw it. But this was the first time we saw it. Well, Hypno kidnaps kids, like that's his whole thing in his Pokedex entry. I don't know why they made it like that. I really don't, with a Pokemon that kidnaps kids. At least with Drifloon, it's kind of funny, because it wants to kidnap kids, but it can't. Because they just pull on it, because it's weightless. At least that's what I remember. But yeah, Hypno just straight up kidnaps kids, hypnotizes them, you know, kidnaps them. And in Fire and Leaf Green, they added a story arc involving this little girl called Lostelle, who is lost, and that's a pun, and you pretty much had to, like, bring her home. Well, she kind of gets lost in the woods, and the Hypno's gonna come and, like, kidnap her or attack her or whatever, and you kind of have to stop it. It's kind of a short thing, and it's not, like, there's, like, no real, like, build up to it. It's just kind of like you find her, and she's getting attacked by Hypno. I think it is definitely very spooky, and I do think it's a little underrated. In fact, now, you know, I didn't even really think of it as being one of the spookiest things. It does get overshadowed by Lavender Town, but I think it's just something about Hypno confirming, oh yeah, I kidnap kids. Like, that's just like, that's something I just don't want to know. Because with a lot of these Pokedex entries, my brain kind of goes into a weird headcanon where it's like, either the person writing it is over-dramatizing it, or the professor is, but, like, some of those entries just get so, like, dumb, you know? Like, what's the one? Like, Raichu does, like, 10 million volts or something, or, like, a Pokemon gets, like, 10 million more degrees hotter than the sun, or something weird. And it's just like, no, that can't happen, you know? So I always kind of headcanon that, like, the more extreme stuff is kind of just dramatized. But, yeah, knowing Hypno does that, it's like, oh, and why would you want it on your team after that? Oh, I love its design, but, Hypno is just, ugh. Yeah, it's creepy, and I think it should get some more representation, so I am actually going to put it near the top. Let's see, probably right under Lavender Town there. The Old Chateau. Oh, they're going straight into Diamond and Pearl. Okay, yeah, we could do it. We could do that. I honestly think the Old Chateau is kind of underrated. I think the music there is very, very spooky. In fact, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, Generation 4 had a lot of really spooky parts to it, and yeah, exploring the Old Chateau blind was not enjoyable as a kid. I remember going through the halls and just, like, you see, like, the ghosts and you see, like, the flickers and stuff like that, and you just, and I don't know, like, it was very creepy exploring that place, you know? I think the icing on the cake, though, was Rotom, because that thing is just like, because you don't really expect anything. Like, you go in there and you're like, yeah, it's creepy, but then you find what we thought was a legendary Pokemon back then. Now it's just an annoying Pokedex, but, you know, you go in there, you find the Rotom, and it just goes, bah, duh, and it just starts that legendary music, and you're like, oh god, okay, we're fighting, oh my god, this is a legendary ghost Pokemon, I can't handle this, you know? But yeah, Old Chateau's fun. Like, that's honestly probably, like, one of the better horror, I can't say horror today. It's one of the better spooky parts of Pokemon, because it's kind of like a tour. Like, they guide you through it like an actual haunted house, compared to something you just kind of go in, fight a few ghost NPCs, you know, and some waifu ghost NPCs, and that's just kind of the mystery. And maybe they'll play some creepy music, but who knows? But yeah, Old Chateau, oh my god, I think I might put that next to Lavender Town. I don't know, I think I'll see at the end though. Oh, I see they listed the Sabrina episode. Oh, I wish I could talk about that. Maybe some other time. Okay, I'll just say one thing about the Sabrina episode thing. Honestly, that is how Sabrina should have been done in the actual game, because that would have been actually amazing. And I love her design from the anime too, so. The ghost type trial from Alola. Oh, yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I kind of buried that in my head. Yeah, the ghost type trial was actually relatively creepy, and I think probably the creepiest part about it for me was, again, the music, because it does like some weird cutout thing, and when you're listening to it, like when I listened to it, I think I was it was like a perfect case scenario. I think I was playing it at night, and I was like playing it like outside or something like that, and I didn't know if my 3DS was kind of cutting out because the music sounds really compressed, and it kind of like glitches out, like you kind of have like a bad speaker kind of thing. It's really like brilliant, and I actually really like that part. I don't remember too much of the trial though. I know like some Pokemon kind of just appear out of nowhere, at least that's what I remember. But yeah, the part with the Mimikyu and stuff, that definitely was pretty creepy. I think it would have been a lot creepier if Mimikyu if no one knew about the existence of Mimikyu before the game came out. Like seriously, if Pokemon Company didn't blow Mimikyu, that would have been an amazing reveal. But we knew about Mimikyu before the game came out because it's supposed to be like a Pikachu, because you would see Pikachu, and when you get closer to it, it turns out to actually be Mimikyu. And to be fair, Mimikyu has a very shocking design when you first see it, because it just looks like a weird Pikachu doll, and it does its job for sure. Though it's funny now because Mimikyu is one of the cutest Pokemon ever, and I can never see Mimikyu as like anything scary. So I don't know. I do think it was a return to form for Pokemon, and they really tried with the Ghost Trial, so I'm gonna give them credit for that for sure. And I might bump some stuff around on the list, because now I'm like actually like tiering it, so there you go. Ooh, the Strange House. That's right, this is from Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, and what I really like about the Strange House is it's a two-parter, because in the first one you hear about like some ghosts that like died, like some little girl or something like that, and it's kind of like a weird like mythos in that game. And I don't even think Black and White really had a creepy, oh wait, no, it did, that's right, I'm not gonna spoil it, I remember what it is though, but it's not that part. Anyway, yeah, there was like a weird creepy ghost kid who like died, and you kind of like heard the legends about her, how she was like sick or something like that. And in Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, you actually get to visit the house and where she died. You learn like more about her, and you kind of see what happened, and like the house kind of like just kind of shakes, and I believe like stuff rearranges itself after a little bit. It was definitely very well done. Like it was a very, very well done area, and kind of like a good two-parter, you know, because Pokemon Black and White is definitely the one where they care about narrative, and it was a great two-parter to that. So honestly, I mean, I don't know, it's spooky, but I don't think it's one of the spookier things. I definitely applaud it though for being like really like well done on terms of being thought out, because like it's a solid story honestly. So yeah, but I don't know if that constitutes spooky. I kind of have to see how I feel about that. The Ghost Girl from Pokemon X and Y. Okay, so this one is probably the shortest one on this list, but for those of you who do not know, X and Y does have a haunted house, but it's not scary. In fact, I think nothing really happens there. I think an old guy kind of tells you something, and he tries to tell you a scary story, but it's not really all that scary, and then I think he makes you pay him afterwards. I forgot. But I know that place is very, very underwhelming. It's not even really a haunted house. It kind of went with the moment, though. It was kind of funny. But yeah, the X and Y Ghost Girl, for those of you who do not know, it's in Lumiose City, and if you go into a random building, I believe on like a certain floor or something like that, all of a sudden, I think like a hex maniac just kind of sees you and then says like, oh no, you're not him. And they're stuck in like the walking motion, and there's no animation for them walking, and they just kind of walk away. But keep in mind, there's no animation, so they just kind of like float away almost, and that's it. The music just goes off, and just like, what on earth was that? And then you kind of just go back to Lumiose, and it's like, what? That's just so weird. Unfortunately, I don't believe I experienced this blind, or else I probably would have remembered. Jay Witz is actually the one who told me about it the first time, and this list kind of reminded me about it. But it's a very effective spooky moment, because he put it best in like his whole Pokemon spooky list, is that you expect the spooky stuff to come out of haunted houses, but not when you're at Disneyland. You know what I mean? And Lumiose City's music is so cheery, and the place is just so happy and nice. It's definitely not cool that they put a really spooky moment, and I think the spookiest thing too is that they never explain it. Like, there's no lore behind it. It's a complete opposite of the strange house, and that honestly makes it really scary. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Man, Gen 4 actually had quite a few. I'm gonna go with this one though. The Distortion World. So, okay, just getting out personal biases out of the way, I honestly think the Distortion World is arguably the coolest moment in Pokemon, at least one of them. It is undescribable. At least that's what I remember for playing Pokemon Platinum for the first time. Because you play Diamond and Pearl, you know what the game's about, and then you play Platinum, you know what the game's about. The engine is, you know, you understand the engine and everything. And then when you go into the Distortion World, the camera just like zooms out, and it plays this weirdly like calming music, but you know you shouldn't be here. Like, this is not a place you should be. And this was the first time Pokemon really experimented with like the physics of its world, and it is honestly mind-blowing for how it goes. It is a crazy experience, and I if you haven't played Pokemon Platinum, you gotta try it, because it's undescribable. I don't know if the Distortion World is creepy though. In fact, I find it relatively calming. I think the creepy thing about it is kind of just like navigating its world, and it definitely feels like kind of just a mind-blown kind of feel to it, because you're doing stuff and you're playing a game, and you're like, this shouldn't be happening in this, you know? I shouldn't be able to walk upside down. I shouldn't be able to surf upside down. And then I think one of the creepier things is that when you go there for the first time is that every so often Giratina will just fly by, and it's like, oh, nope, just get me out of here. And I believe when you're there for the first time, you're stranded, right? Oh wait, no, I think there's a portal when it first starts out. Okay. But the Distortion World is definitely one of my favorite moments in Pokemon. I don't know if it's really creepy though, because I think music is a big deal maker when it comes to me and like spooky stuff. And I really like the Distortion World music. Now, when it first starts out, the whole like, that's pretty creepy. But when it settles in and does like the calming like melody, it's very like calming. Like, it kind of makes the Distortion World feel more melancholic rather than like an actual like void of darkness and evil, you know what I mean? But yeah, Distortion World, I wouldn't even have put it on this list. I'm glad this reminded me. Huh. Alright, moving on to the next part of Gen 5, and I'm definitely glad they didn't let me forget this one. Whew, End's Room. So, to explain this one, it's near the end of the game, and it's one of the more unique things in a Pokemon game. This is the first time in a Pokemon game that you don't end the game by fighting the champion. I mean, technically you still fight the champion because End is the champion at this time. It feels more like an actual final boss confrontation compared to like, alright, battle Steven, battle Cynthia, become the strongest trainer, you know? So it was very unique. It was very, very unique. And you go through the castle, and it's definitely like, okay, you know, it's a lot of regal stuff, and you can get some lore out of it. And then you go into this one room, and it just plays this really creepy version of, like, the main rival's theme. And you're just like, what on earth? And I think one of the creepier things is that it looked relatively active. Like, the train is still going, like the little toy train, and like there's just really creepy stuff in that room, and you just got, it's just there, and it's just not explained, and you just kind of go forward, but you have that knowledge of like, this dude might be screwed up in the head, you know, like that was really eerie. And don't even get me started on the version in Black 2 White 2. That one, I won't even go inside. That one is legit creepy, because the castle is abandoned in Black 2 White 2, so you can only imagine what it's like in N's room in there. Ooh, I get to talk about New Moon Island. Oh yes, New Moon Island. Where do I even get started with New Moon Island? So, let me explain this one. New Moon Island is actually an event, crazy enough. Yeah, it's one of those events that you've probably never played because you weren't fortunate enough to get it or whatever. But it is really creepy, and I really, really like it, because you play Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, and then you find this one house in, what was it, the one city, like with the docks. You find this one, like, hotel thing, and it's locked. It's just straight up locked, and you're just thinking, you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna get the key, right? Nope, you never get the key. But then there's an event in where you do get the key, and okay, I'm just gonna say it flat out. I was able to get the key. I forgot if I got the key or I did the thing where you can walk through the door and you just go through surfaces, but my friend had an action replay and I got to experience it legit. And good lord, it's something else. You unlock the door, you go inside, there's instantly an NPC who's right in your face, and he's just like, we've been expecting you. And remember, it's playing like the Gen 4 creepy music, which is very, very creepy. And he lays you to rest, and all of a sudden, you wake up and you're on New Moon Island. And I believe you've already met Cresselia. I don't recall. But the contrast to meeting Cresselia is not fun. Oh yeah, wait, you can play it at any moment. Okay, so you probably have met Cresselia before you got this event. But anyway, you're on the island, and it contrasts like the whole Cresselia event thing. And you find him. You find the boy, the one and only Darkrai. You go in there, you see his form, and you're like, oh, you're okay. Ooh, you know, it's the nightmare Pokemon that you've heard about. And yeah, Darkrai is one of the coolest Pokemon ever. It's a dark type. It's not a ghost. It's just flat out a dark type. Now, it seems like a ghost, feels like a ghost, but it's certainly not a ghost. It's just straight up dark. And it has a move called Dark Void that puts you to sleep. And it's the Nightmare Pokemon. Ah, man, it's so eerie. I honestly think it's interesting that no one can really get a pin down on what Darkrai is. Because on one hand, I hear it's good, and on the other hand, I hear it's bad. There has been evidence for both. In Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, he was a villain. In the movie, the very famous movie, Darkrai was actually a good guy. And to be honest, I actually like that narrative a little bit more, because it kind of paints like Darkrai as kind of a victim in all this, because it didn't choose to be born as a horrific Pokemon called Darkrai that puts people to sleep and gives them nightmares, you know? So it just kind of feels misunderstood. And when you look at Darkrai, I feel its design kind of lends to that, because it doesn't look happy to be doing this. It just kind of feels like this is just kind of its natural born role. But it as a villain, oh, it's not fun when he's a villain. That is for sure. It is not fun when he's a villain. It gets very spooky. And I honestly think New Moon Island is a very solid moment in Pokemon history, as well as a very solid spooky moment. Alright, and I'm just looking at all these now, and I think I pretty much covered everything, but I am in denial because, okay, I know Sword and Shield doesn't have anything creepy in it, at least I don't think. But Gen 3 also doesn't have anything creepy in it. Ruby and Sapphire. And that kind of grinds my gears. So I'm trying to like rack my brain. There had to be something creepy in those games. There had to be something creepy. It's my favorite region. It has to have something creepy in it. Maybe that's why it's my favorite region, because it doesn't have anything creepy in it. I'm just looking up like creepy Ruby Sapphire moments thing. I mean, Mount Pyre kinda counts. I feel like Mount Pyre is like Lavender Town or Pokemon Tower completely like absorbed of all of its creepiness. Because Mount Pyre kind of feels like more of a fun kind of, I don't know, its music its music is eerie, but it's not like spooky at all. And when you go to Outer Mount Pyre, it definitely makes it feel a lot more grand than anything. And this part of the game, you're not really supposed to be creeped out. You're supposed to kind of go to this place, and it kind of holds this old lore to it, where you have to find like the red and blue orbs. And I believe they retained that for Mega Ruby and Sapphire as well. I don't think Mount Pyre is creepy though. I don't think it is. That's like the creepiest thing, is just Mount Pyre. And the thing is too, is that I was gonna say Phoebe, but Phoebe is from Mount Pyre. So that is the creepiest Hoenn gets. Wow, that's the creepiest Hoenn gets. There has to be something. No, there has to be something. The Reggies, no, no. Oh my gosh, there's nothing creepy. I am big sad right now. Oh, I just found one. Okay, the Drought. So, yes, I will list this one. And I'm not doing the Sapphire one, because I don't think the Sapphire one is actually that creepy. Though I do love the Sapphire end of the world. Well, okay, so Pokemon Ruby version, and this is strictly for Pokemon Ruby and Omega Ruby. It's the end of the world. The world is legitimately coming to an end because Team Magma has decided to resurrect Groudon, and Groudon went outside, and because of its presence, the sun is drawn out, and it is gonna dry up the oceans, and it's just intense sunlight. And even though Pokemon Ruby is my first Pokemon game, I only played it like once because I was kind of scared to restart my game back then, so I kind of forgot about the Drought music. It wasn't really all that creepy to me. I don't know what it was though, because re-listening to it, I'm just like, oh my god, what on earth is this song? It is not fun to listen to. It is not at all, and I don't like it. But other than that, I wouldn't say the Drought is creepy. I just say the music's creepy, and then when you hear kind of like the NPCs and what they have to say, it's like, oh my god, the world is gonna end. It's a very unique scenario too, because you never expect the world to end by us drying out. You would expect like a great flood, or a storm, or a weird earthquake, but not like the sun like just getting too hot and we burn up. Yeah, I don't know. The Drought. I mean, it's not gonna go high up on this list at all, but I just wanted to include it because I wanted some creepy Hoenn on this list, and there's no creepy Hoenn because I love it. Alright, so going near the bottom of the list, I have the selling of the Slowpoke Tail. I just didn't think it was creepy enough to constitute an entry on this list, so I just kind of put it near the very bottom. That's the same with the Drought, because I feel like with the Drought, pretty much the creepiest part about it is the music, so it's not really, you know, it's not really all that spooky. I just kind of wanted to include it. And next, in kind of the mid-range, I put the Distortion World and the Strange House, as well as Lostelle. I feel like in order, I would probably put the Distortion World at the lowest, the Strange House on top, and then Lostelle probably in the middle. Because I feel like the Strange House kind of pulled off what it wanted to pull off. Lostelle was just kind of a confirmation of something compared to like actually being, you know, like legitimately scary. And the Distortion World is, I don't know, like I can't think of the Distortion World as anything scary, especially like with the super calming music, but it is definitely eerie how, I don't know, like just something about video games not working the way they're supposed to really freaks me out. And I hate it because the modern video game makers like Undertale and Doki Doki Literature Club, they have figured that out, and it really scares me. And they also figured out that sprite work scares me sometimes. So yeah, alright. And near the top, I'm going to put the Ghost Girl and the Ghost Trial and New Moon Island. So I would probably put Ghost Girl and Ghost Trial like pretty much at the same place, honestly. I feel like Ghost Girl is a legitimate shock, and that's what makes it spooky. And the Ghost Trial is legitimately something that worked, that Game Freak tried to do with that. Like, I don't know, it's two sides of the same coin, like the unexpected and the expected, but both kind of had similar results, so I definitely reward them for that. Well, actually, now that I think about it, I think New Moon Island might go, yeah, probably just in the same place, you know, like, because I was gonna say, the one thing about New Moon Island is I do feel it is relatively short. But then again, the Ghost Girl thing is just legitimately just more of a jump scare than anything, so Yeah, so I can't really... I don't know, I think New Moon Island is literally in the middle. Like, two sides of the same coin. New Moon Island would be that, like, small middle part. They're all kind of different ways to the same goal. I know, I just pretty much implied a three-sided coin. Forgive me, everyone. Alright, and then all these are pretty much near the top. Lavender Town, you know, I'm just gonna combine it with Pokemon Tower. Like, just screw it. I'm talking about Lavender Town, I'm talking about Pokemon Tower. I'm talking about that whole business. That's straight up at the top. There's a reason it's one of the most iconic things in gaming, and it deserves it. It deserves it. Good job, Game Freak. Kanto actually lives up to something. Yeah, crazy enough. Old Chateau is also up here, too. I just feel like Old Chateau is a really great, like, it's a really great haunted house scenario. Because the thing is, with Lavender Town, you just kind of experience it, and you have people kind of telling you the creep factor. While in the Old Chateau, you're experiencing it, and it's all on you. You can leave at any time, but if you're gonna keep going, that was nice knowing you. And then N's Room. And I think the reason why I put N's Room so high on this list is because the unexpected value of it is really good. The music is the creepiest thing, and in Black 2 White 2, it's even creepier. And I think it just hits the narrative for me. It hits like the narrative worth. Because it's good to know that N is kind of not well in the head before you fight him. And I don't know, I just think it was the horror thing that just worked on all aspects for me. So yeah, I think those are at the top of the list. Lavender Town, the Old Chateau, and N's Room. So yeah. Well, that was fun. I am actually very disappointed that Hoenn has no creepy moments! Special thanks to my top tier patrons: Trico Simp, Teru XD, Crack Yoey, Bumblebet, and Liddy Kitty.